Hello everyone, this is Mini Ajit. Hope all of you are doing well. Today we are going to learn about different types of chemical reaction, corrosion and rancidity. Already you have studied about chemical equation, balancing of chemical equation, types of chemical reaction in which you studied combination reaction and decomposition reaction. Let me start today with the third type of chemical reaction, that is displacement reaction. Before we go in detail, it's very important to understand what is a reactivity series or activity series. Reactivity series means where the metals are arranged in decreasing order of reactivity. Details of this we'll study in metals and non-metals. This concept is used to explain displacement reaction. Now here we find the metal which is placed on the top is more reactive than the metal which is placed below it. So potassium is most reactive metal in the series, and we find that platinum is least reactive. Now come to the definition of displacement reaction. Displacement reaction is a reaction in which a more reactive element or metal displaces a less reactive metal or element from its compound or aqueous solution is called a displacement reaction. Now moving on to the activity given in NCERT book, that is activity 1.9. What we have to do here is that we take 3 iron nails and clean it. 2 iron nails we dip in copper sulfate solution, which is blue in color. We take 2 test tubes A and B, both containing equal volume of copper sulfate solution. In test tube A we dip these 2 iron nails, and test tube B is kept as such. Also we take a iron nail for reference, that is before the experiment and after the experiment. After 20 minutes we take out the iron nail from the copper sulfate solution and compare it with the original iron nail. It is observed that after experiment a reddish brown coating is obtained on the surface of iron nail. Again we compare the two solutions, that is test tube A and test tube B. In test tube A we have dipped iron nail and test tube B is kept as such. So we observe that after the activity, when we take out the iron nail, the blue color of copper sulfate fades and it becomes pale green in color. So this shows example of displacement reaction. Now why this blue color fades? This is because we find when iron is dipped in copper sulfate solution, iron being more reactive than copper displaces copper from its aqueous solution. So this activity explains about displacement reaction. So the two observations of the activity is that number 1, there is a reddish brown coating of copper metal on the surface of iron nail, and second is that the blue color of copper sulfate solution fades and the solution turns pale green. Conclusion of the activity is that as iron is more reactive than copper, therefore it displaces copper from copper sulfate solution. Other examples of displacement reaction is shown below. In first example, we find that when copper is dipped in silver nitrate solution, the color changes to blue, which is due to the reason that as copper is more reactive than silver, it displaces silver from its aqueous solution. Similarly, in the second reaction, we find that when zinc is dipped in copper sulfate solution, the blue color changes to colorless. Here, zinc being more reactive than copper displaces copper sulfate solution, forming colorless zinc sulfate solution. Other examples, all these examples we find that more reactive element displaces less reactive element from its aqueous solution. Now at the end we can see, suppose if I take a silver metal and dip silver metal in blue color copper sulfate solution. So what do we observe here? That silver being less reactive than copper, it will not displace copper from its aqueous solution. That is, no reaction takes place. So we find that the most important condition for a displacement reaction to occur is that the metal should be more reactive than the metal in the aqueous solution. I hope you have understood what is a displacement reaction. Now moving on to the next type, that is double displacement reaction, which is also called metathesis reaction. This double displacement reaction means where mutual exchange of ions takes place when two aqueous solutions are mixed. Now we'll see the activity, that is 1.10 given in NCERT book. In this activity it is observed, suppose we take two solutions, one is sodium sulfate solution which is Na2SO4 colorless solution, and the other one is barium chloride solution which is also colorless. We mix the two solutions. Immediately we find that a white precipitate is formed. Precipitate means the insoluble substance which settles down as solid on mixing two solutions. Now here on mixing the two solution, barium sulfate white color precipitate is formed. So this shows double displacement reaction where we find that the sodium and barium exchange the ions and resulting into formation of barium sulfate. Other examples of double displacement reaction are shown below. One is silver nitrate solution with NaCl, both colorless. On mixing we get curdy white PPT of silver chloride. Second example is aluminum sulfate. On mixing with ammonium hydroxide we get a gelatinous white precipitate of aluminum hydroxide. Again, in both the reactions we find there is mutual exchange of ions. Now you have already studied in activity 1.2 in the beginning of the chapter that what happens when lead nitrate solution and potassium iodide solutions are mixed. So here again we find immediately on mixing these two solutions yellow color precipitate which is due to formation of lead iodide is formed. So again here we find that Pb and potassium exchanges. So hence this is example of double displacement reaction. This type of questions come in CBSE board exams where one activity will be given and a set of questions will be asked. So this when the questions are asked, it's supposed the student should write balanced chemical equation and then according to the question write the observation. So what all reactions we have studied so far, that is example of precipitation reaction also. So there are two types of double displacement reaction. One is precipitation reaction which we have studied already. Second is neutralization reaction. You must have heard in lower classes acids and bases. Now when acids and bases are mixed, for example hydrochloric acid is mixed with sodium hydroxide solution, we find here also mutual exchange of ion takes place and resulting into salt and water. So since here also exchange of ions takes place, so this is also type of double displacement reaction. So in today's class we have studied two types, that is displacement and double displacement reaction. Thank you.